Okay, folks, so work continues on the road leading into the locomotive yard. As you can see, I've laid a sub road bed down of cork, and I've glued in one of the rubber crossings, and to this I will be adding on this side a piece of .040 styrene, which will be glued down onto this sub road bed here, and all the work on this crossing later. Then on the other side, went ahead and cut a piece of .080 styrene, which will be the base for the road. Then on top of that, I'll have another piece of .040 styrene, and this is the width of the rubber road that I'm going to be laying down on top of the plastic, which is this stuff here. So I left the bottom piece a little wider than the top piece, which is the road itself, to create sort of a shoulder with gravel once the asphalt is glued down to the styrene. I've cut, fit, and glued down the BLMA crossings, as you can see, and even though they're made for straight track, as you can see here, I was able to use them on a slight curve and on a number 8 switch, but I've had to basically butcher one up to be able to get a somewhat neat appearance. Now this one I had to cut it short, obviously, because of the switch here. But as you can see, the switch changes, and the railroad crossing has no effect or interference with it. Now the next thing you want to do is make sure that your flanges are going to clear. And the best way to do that is just to push the train through. So at this point I will dab some black acrylic paint along this edge of the rubber grade crossing, and what that allows me to do is to get pretty much an even mark as to where to cut my road. Now remember, this started off with a cork sub road bed to bring the road up to grade. Then I added a .80 styrene sub-road, to which the .40 styrene road will be glued to. And the best way to get a mark is just to lay it where it's going to go, press down on the painted edge, and then once you flip it over, you'll have a nice mark where to cut. Okay, so this is the styrene piece or road that I cut flush up against the rubber grade crossing, and I've painted the edges of the styrene UP dark gray, which comes very close to the color that's on this road made by Bush. You can see when I put up the road next to the color, it's slightly off, but not much. And anyway, the edge of the styrene eventually will be covered with gravel. Now my next step is to peel off the sticky back and stick the Bush road onto the styrene road. And then I'm going to use a dowel, which is basically a broomstick piece, and I'm going to roll it over to make sure that all the air bubbles and everything is off of the Bush road. Okay, now I will roll the road flat, make sure there are no air bubbles. And the next step is to turn it over and trim the excess. We'll just do that with a number 11 X-Acto blade. Okay, so we've trimmed the road, and I don't know if you can see, but this stuff really looks like an asphalt road. You can see the grain texture as if it had very tiny rocks embedded into the tar. It really looks good. Let's see how it looks on the layout. Okay, so the road is down. It's not glued. I could still raise it up, do whatever I need to do to it. I just placed it on here. The nice thing about this is that you can, in hard to reach areas, like in this case, this area here, I can draw my my railroad crossing lines, and I'm still going to have to do a double yellow line down the center, but it doesn't look bad at all. And you don't have the mess of the smooth it and sand it. However, I will try some of that in other parts of the layout. I will continue and finish the entire road here leading up to the locomotive yard.